Graphic design is all around us, from Coca-Cola to hot chip and lime, and it just so happens to be my passion. Today I'm going to be creating a brand new intro animation for my channel because the old one sucked. Yeah, that one. That one's been in the videos instead of my new design. My branding had an update recently from dark and dull to bright and colourful, but I've been procrastinating on making the intro. I'm going to animate and finish my brand new intro with you, from the planning to the editing, all the way to the final result. I have a feeling this is going to look insane. Oh yeah, I'm not dead by the way, but yeah, glad Halloween's over. But for now, let's roll the original. Okay, so the original logo was a little bit more simplistic than the current one. The text contents were the same, but outside of this there was a lot less going on, and in the same way the intro animation was also kind of simple. The text flies in at a 45-degree angle, it flashes, the background appears, and the little things bob in. It's flashy, but it's incredibly simple and maybe lazy? I don't know. My wish is for this new animation to just be crazy. I want every little detail to be thought of. I want this bumper to do a bumper animation. I want this guy to look around. I want this code to be typed out, and that's just the text contents. I don't want the background to feel so digital or geometric. I want to embrace the artistic nature of this channel and to make the background flow. So first things first, I gotta time this intro to some music. My original intro song was very generously composed by Noah Copeland. Very talented person, go check him out please. For this new intro, I want to keep the same tune, but remixed a bit. So with the, again, very generous help of Jan Davis, very talented, go check him out please, I have a variant of the tune to use for this new intro. So simple, so nice. Good collab there, guys. And with that ready, I'm going to start storyboarding. So first, of course, I'm going to figure out how things should appear. So I want the letters to pop out in some way. I've abandoned the whole idea that they just stretch off screen forever. So this actually gives me a bit more freedom. I think they'll pop in with a bit of an interesting motion. The outlines will appear kind of growing out, then sliding down. That may be tricky, but we can figure that out. Like I said originally, I want the text contents to be really animated this time. I think with enough attention paid to these things, it will really make this intro more special. Now for the background, I want it to be inky or like paint. I actually have a little idea in my brain of how to pull this off in the software. It will kind of look like this, kind of swirling out. Then there are these lines which kind of need to appear somehow till the outro of the intro, where they just distort like crazy. And then just to be nice to myself, I might keep the end simple and have the letters just fly off screen. I think that'll work fine. As that happens, the background can disappear in the same way that it appears. Well then, that seems like a pretty solid plan. I can't wait to see how much of it goes wrong. Yeah, that is prophetic. Okay, so now is where things get technical. I have this plan. Now I have to figure out how to actually put it all together for real. I prep by exporting every image that I can think of. So essentially, it'll be a big animation constructed of images. The first thing I'm going to do is build the actual logo text. I've exported image masks for all the text itself and the outline around it. So first I'll place the mask down in the correct spots. Then I can work outwards from there. So after I pre-comp a letter, using the preserve transparency button, I can place images inside this text and have them just contained within. And this will be extremely useful. It means I can animate whatever I want pretty easily. So now it's time for me to actually animate these letters appearing. I think something extremely simple and geometric will work the best here, as this will be a very fast motion. So I'm making these circles expand, and once they are big enough, the letters just replace them. And with the same motion that the circles had, it's a pretty simple effect. So now that all the letters appear, I'm going to see how I can create the outline animation. I have image masks of each letter's outline, which I can try and do some masking with to make them appear. Basically, if I have two of them overlapping and I use a track matte to only have one appear where the other one is, this allows me to animate it actually appearing using images only, which is pretty neat. One extra thing I need to do is animate a choker right at the very start for the outline to actually appear in the first place. And it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. Now to do the rest of them. So how I have this set up, each letter has two parts, which are controlled by a single null object each. This means I can put all the outline layers at the bottom here, while preserving that transparency with this option. I can cover all of the outline pixels with a single image, or a gradient, which is very handy to give the outlines the color that they need. And yeah, it worked pretty well. I think we are far enough now to begin thinking about the background. The background needs to appear in a kind of a spreading paint blob shape, and the idea I had was to go into Photoshop and create a big blob shape, which is kind of dark in the center and bright at the edges. So here you can see I have effects which cause the image to slowly fill in with white along this gradient from the original image. Oh man, I really don't know what I think of this. I mean, it's okay. It's not exactly my favorite thing yet. The motion is kind of awkward and I might want to mess with the timing. I may have to revisit this. Anyway, next up is those kind of weird lines I put on there. Yeah, I don't know what they are, but they look like this before they are distorted. I'm going to animate them kind of appearing. And once they're on the background, I can then just warp the entire thing with a flag warp, I think. When this really comes together though, is when I add an overlay of a white with black dots. You can see that difference, right? But I might want to end up animating those dots in some way though. We'll see. So with the kind of bend animated, I want that motion to kind of continue through and have that lead into the outro. So I will have the background kind of continue to twist like that until it's completely horizontal in the middle. Now, we're going to move on to more about the letters themselves. I want these letters to shine, and of course, I mean that literally. So I'm going to be adding a sweeping rectangle that appears at the left and expands a bit, then vanishes towards the right. Looks pretty good. Okay, so as I said before with the backgrounds of the letters, I can place any image or layer in this layer comp and it will be easily cropped to the letter. So for this L, I want to make a bumper that can come in and kind of settle. So I'm just going to dial in that motion now. Yep, that looks pretty darn good. I may come back to this and add some more effects soon. It's a similar process with the Adventure Time lads. So we have both boys slide in and they both kind of animate as that happens. For the snippy film strip, I'm going to animate two scissor halves coming in and kind of preparing to snip and then just delicately almost snipping this film reel as it moves upwards. And this is where it all went wrong. Just look, what is this? What's going on? I can't see the image at all, but it's visible. Why doesn't this work? After Effects began glitching and hiding layers which were meant to be visible, and restarting didn't fix anything. I swear, I've redone this bit of the image and I've rearranged the layers, I've done everything and it just won't work. This is insane, dude. I don't even know what's happening. I can't do anything. Sometimes things are simply out of your control. Sometimes pain is unavoidable. Well, luckily I just remade it from scratch and it worked this time. I don't know. I blame Adobe for everything bad in life now. Okay, P done. So I'm gonna make the bumper do an extra bumpy boy animation here before moving on to the next letter. Very nice. The next one is pretty simple. It's just a sky scene with an airship floating through. I added some distortion to the cloud to make it look softer, but it's extremely subtle. So like I said for the code in the E, I'm going to have it scroll up and actually type out as it does so. The Mario hat will be kind of falling or flying through the air and flapping a bit, I suppose. I'm going to be doing that with the puppet tool, which is basically a freeform warping tool. I want to make the dot pattern in the background scroll rather than stay static. And I can do this by decoupling the gradient that controls the opacity from the dot pattern itself and use an effect which will dynamically repeat the dots into their pattern as I move them. Yeah, I mean that's subtle, but I think it helps things feel more dynamic. We're at the home stretch now. The final thing I want to do for this to have a little bit more magic is a couple little twinkle sparkles. Kind of like collecting a ring. I may even sneak a kind of faint ring sound in there to accompany them. So I'm going to make one large one and one smaller one and animate them to just kind of appear and rotate a bit. And that is it. A lot of pain, but it's done. Okay, let's familiarize ourselves with the original logo animation. It has all the correct ideas, but I think I was both a little bit uncertain with what I wanted this to look like from the start, and a little too lazy to really kind of push all the ideas I had. Plus, I just don't prefer the overall vibe of this design. Okay, let's see what we cooked up this time around. Oh man, I love it so much. When you're working on something, you can forget how good you've done. But watching this back makes me happy. This is it. This is the new Lapper. Look at all the bits happening in the text, it's so detailed. Finally, I had done it. I had struggled, I had persevered, and here I was, at the peak, looking fresh. It's the next morning. I really hope you enjoyed watching me power through this process. It went really well. I'm glad I have all of that editing out of the way, and now it's time to edit this video. Damn it!